Hi there. Welcome to an introduction to your professional resume presented by the Mount Holyoke College Career Development Center. My name is Caedyn Busche, and I'm the Associate Director of Career Exploration in the CDC. I'm going to walk you through some important information that you need to know about building your first professional resume. First and foremost, please remember that your resume is going to be unique to your friends, not only because you might be in a completely different industry from them, but because your career journey is completely different from anyone else's. When you're building your resume, feel free to use your friends for support and inspiration, but also remember to return to best practices in your final polishing. To start, a resume has some basics that you absolutely must follow. A standard undergraduate resume for a vast majority of industries is one full page. Research resumes can be 2 pages, and FPs and master's students can also have a base 2-page resume. All resumes should have a font size of between 10 and 12 points, and you should choose a font that is easy to read and clean, like Times, Arial, Calibri, Georgia, etc. Your margin should be 0.5 to 1 inch, and all of your sections, no matter what you've chosen to situate your experience, should be in reverse chronological order. This means that the most recent experiences you've had should come first. You should never include your references, including the phrase references available upon request. You also shouldn't include a photo unless you're in the performing arts industry. Don't include any unnecessary information related to your legal identity, such as your date of birth, citizenship status, or social security number. Finally, interests don't need to be put onto your resume unless you're in the business, consulting, or finance industries, where interests are expected to make an appearance. You get a choice in what sections you have on your resume, because you should plan to use headings that exemplify your experience. All resumes must have the following 4 sections, however: contact information, education, relevant experience, and skills. Some nice-to-have sections could include a professional profile or summary detailing what you're using the document for, relevant coursework under your education section, relevant projects, which some STEM majors will require to have on your resume, such as computer science, leadership, and honors and/or accolades. This is what a general resume should look like. This 1-page, 1-column document is otherwise known as a linear document. Everything is justified to the left with the exception of your dates, which are justified to the right. You want to be very cautious of making sure that all of your margins and alignments are the same, and that you have a good amount of white space that can both direct the reader to the most important information while also being pleasing to the eye without being packed with information. So let's break down each section. First off, your header. This is your contact information. You only need 4 specific pieces of information here: your name, your location, which should not be your full address, your American phone number if you're searching for opportunities in the United States, and a professional email address, either your Mount Holyoke email or an email with your name in it. Regarding your name, go with the name that you use most often. Fun fact, you don't need to list your legal name on your resume. If you have a preferred name, nickname, or English name, feel free to use it on your resume. Regarding your location, we typically say stick with your city, state, and zip code. If you want to use Mount Holyoke as your location, use South Hadley, Massachusetts 01075. But if you choose to use your permanent address, you would use something like Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania 15217. You can also list both your Mount Holyoke College location and your permanent address, especially if those places are far from one another. Finally, there are some optional additions that you can make in your header section. You're welcome to include your pronouns here if you would like to do so. You can also add a link if it's appropriate to your industry. The safest option is a LinkedIn URL, but you can also add portfolios, GitHubs, or personal websites as needed. If you are currently a full-time student, your education section will be the first section on your resume under your contact information. List Mount Holyoke College, fully written out, then that you'll be receiving a Bachelor of Arts degree. You can list your major, minor, and/or nexus, and make sure you indicate the month and year of your graduation. We do not offer Bachelor of Science degrees, so please do not indicate such. You can include your relevant coursework here too. Please do not include course numbers, as they are not relevant to anyone that's not affiliated with Mount Holyoke. And you can include your honors and accolades here as well in relation to Mount Holyoke College. You do not need to include a full description of all honors and accolades unless it is a award that you cannot easily Google. First years and sophomores are welcome to include their high school information. Under Mount Holyoke, you'll list the name and location of your high school, what type of high school diploma you received, and when, with month and year. You do not need to indicate AP classes that you took, but you can include your GPA if you would like. Your next section is your skills section. Some people choose to have their skills section directly under their education section, or you could list your skills section as the very last section on your resume. If you have a 2-page resume, choose the former. Please make sure that you're providing clear categorization between these transferable skills. For example, subcategorization could include computer, languages, and competencies is always a safe bet. You don't need to include assumed professional skills such as teamwork, collaboration, or communication, and you also do not need to include interests unless you are in industries that require that section, such as business, finance, or consulting. No matter your industry of choice, you're going to need a relevant experience section. This section is meant to be a showcase of opportunities that have allowed you to gain skill sets that are fundamental to your industry of choice. As a note, as you start to gain more experience, you will need to start differentiating between experience that is relevant to what you're seeking at this moment in time and everything else that you've done that has given you transferable skills. More on the non-relevant experiences later. The most important facet of this section is consistency in formatting. You will need to include the following information: the name of the organization or company that you work for, the physical location of where you worked or remote, the month and year duration, and your job title. Under this information, you'll include 2 to 3 bullet points that should include qualitative evidence, and your bullet points, being one of the most important facets of your resume, should be formulated using a formula to create the most powerful statements. Provide a strong action verb plus context and tack on a result if you can genuinely speak to the results of your impact. And just to reiterate, you want to include quantitative evidence wherever possible. So for an example bullet point, take a look at the following. Use survey data to make process navigation easier for website users. While this is a solid bullet point because it gives me an understanding of what you did and what you gained from this experience, you can strengthen it even further. Analyzed survey information from 65 users using SPSS to make efficiency changes resulting in 25% faster results for users. You have information in this bullet that includes 1, a strong action verb, 2, quantitative evidence in both the context and result, and 3, gives me an industry-based understanding of your transferable skills using technologies that are important to note by naming SPSS. And now comes the parts of your resume that you have the chance to customize depending on your level of experience, what you're applying to, and how much tailored targeting you're trying to take advantage of. For anything that you've done that has given you transferable skills that aren't directly relevant to what you're hoping to apply to, you can always add another section. Some people will call this section leadership and co-curricular activities. Others will simply use other experience. For some industries, you'll want to add a section for research experience or maybe notable projects. No matter what sections you choose to add, your formatting should be the exact same as your relevant experience section. Now that we've built out the basic sections of a resume, here is what a finished document could look like. Now, there's a lot of variation of what can happen with a resume, and we encourage you to be able to play around with whatever you want your resume to show about you. But don't forget that the basics are going to be what makes the best first impression to the reader. Before we wrap up, just a couple of more tips in preparation for using your resume for applications. Perhaps most importantly, you need to save your resume as a PDF, and you need to name your document something that will identify it as yours. Include at least your full name, and you might also want to add your first name, last initial, or even the name of the company or organization that you're applying to. You never want to submit a document just entitled resume. This can work against you when a recruiter opens your document as resume 496. We recommend utilizing AI assistance if you feel like it would be helpful to you. You can consider using AI to help you check for grammar or spelling errors, condensing your messaging, aligning your bullet points and sentences to more closely match particular job responsibilities, or deciding what skills to highlight the most based on a job description. Just remember to use AI ethically. We want you to make sure that you're crafting your own words using your own voice. Have AI support the refinement of your documents rather than using it to create things for you. Don't misrepresent yourself. Thanks for checking out this video. From here, you can interact with the Career Development Center in a number of ways. We welcome you to attend our introductory workshops on resumes, cover letters, LinkedIn, and networking, and more to ask questions and stay up to date on important developments and opportunity-seeking trends. You can also get access to an advisor by either attending Career Studios or making an appointment with the CDC on Handshake. Finally, check out our resource library on My Mount Holyoke for other samples of resumes. We look forward to working with you soon.